to do.
All right, it should work this time. Go a different route.
There, it's there.
It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We apologize
But
for
right
taking.
now, all we can see is our tiger logo. It says we're live though.
All
There we
right,
go.
hit.
Yep, we're there. We're very sorry for our challenge there for a little bit. This is our first meeting in our brand new elementary school, and we are very thankful to be able to be in this room so that we can meet in person. All right, there we go. So we're going to move on to item one. No, Mr. Jolly, you were going to make a comment in response to the public participation.
Oh no, yes. Later in my presentation, we will address how people can connect with us through public participation. So it'll be addressed in a few minutes after the next presentation.
Okay. All right. So on next on our agenda is item 1.6. It's approval of our meeting minutes. I need a motion on the floor to please approve the meeting minutes for September 16th, the regular meeting, September 21st, our special meeting, October 7th, our work session meeting, and October 21st, all of the year 2020. If I can have a motion, please.
Madam Chair, I move item 1.6, approval of the minutes for the following meetings. September 16th, 2020, regular meeting. September 21st, 2020, special meeting. October 7th, 2020, work session meeting. And October 21st, 2020, regular meeting.
I second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board, and thank you for your patience as we got the minutes situated in board docs a few days ago. Next on our agenda is item 1.6, superintendent updates. And Mr. Jolly, I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
Um, okay. I'd just like to welcome everybody to today's board meeting. It is a gracious time and opportunity to be in our new school today. We are in the cafeteria of the new school. We were anticipating having the new school open very soon, but today I'll discuss some changes in plans that I would like to announce today to the community and to the board so that we can all start moving forward. So today there was a the Collier County Board of Health passed a stay-at-home order recommendation. The stay-at-home recommendation recommends that the district or that Collier County is stay at home till December 17, 2020. In that order, um, it is parameters for people to work, but the recommendation is um, if they can work from home, that they should. As a business, we do have essential employees that will continue to work through this order. We will inform later in this presentation. We will share those employees who will have to come in and provide service. So here's our plan. On Thursday, November 19th, which is tomorrow, our staff will prepare to shift to remote learning. That we are asking our teaching staff to come in, get their materials, finish the last day of teaching from inside the building. And at the conclusion of that day, we will shift to remote learning on Friday. Um, the move to the new school, our teachers have been packing up all week. We are still going to move Friday. So at the end of tomorrow, we need all our elementary teachers packed. On Friday, the movers will be at all 3 elementary schools and will move them. Our instructional staff will work remotely until January 19, 2021. That's the day after Martin Luther King birthday. Scholars will return to school on January 25th, 2021. That is the beginning of the second semester. Our central office will rotate on a hybrid schedule until December 17, 2020. So our supervisors have already been informed that they need to create a hybrid schedule to ensure that the business of the district continues. So there will be people in central office. Our mobile meals, we have a commitment to serve our students. Our mobile meals will continue until Christmas break. So employees will be working and ensuring our students are eating. Also, our buildings will be open until further notice. We will continue to have our buildings open for cleanliness. This new building will be open. We will have our buildings open. And then and this is very important, all employees working remotely are mandated to be available during work hours. So during your regular scheduled time, you have to be available to answer emails and do whatever the tasks at hand. At this point, are there any questions from the board?
Mr. Jolly, I do have
Yeah.
a question.
Yes.
How are we going to ensure that our teachers, since we are fully remote now, that they teach from a space that is conducive for the students to be educated, not teaching from busy rooms in their homes? I think we've all seen the very interesting viral videos of people teaching from places that shouldn't be taught from. So I just want to make
So
sure we're
we're
going.
going to work with our partners in the union, our union president, Ms. Barnes, and we just appeal to our teachers and their professionalism. But we'll work closely with our union partner and ask that everyone be as professional as possible. We'll work with our principals to continue to ensure that that happens. Any other question from the board or any questions?
Was that the end of your presentation?
Oh, it's not the end. No, ma'am. I
Okay.
just want to,
Nope. You go right ahead. I'm good. I'm going to listen to the whole presentation.
yeah, I wanted to address the stay-at-home order and our shift to online learning. I would be the first to say I don't think it's our kids. Our kids need to be in person, but the conditions on the ground, as we said from the beginning, when they change, we've changed our plan, and our plan changed today. So based on, and we did talk to Cleveland Clinic today. We had a long conversation with them this afternoon, and they shared their concerns about the holiday season, that they anticipated a spike in cases after Thanksgiving. They anticipated a spike in cases after Christmas and New Year's. So we extended the time for 2 weeks after New Year's to ensure that whatever the spike is, that we're beyond that space. So that's how we came up with the dates that we are now. We met with Cleveland Clinic. We looked at the recommendation. We did talk to our legal counsel, and I believe this is the best plan moving forward. But I want people to understand and know that we still are a business. We still have essential services. We still have to feed the students. And we still have some other activities that will continue until further notice. If there's no questions, I'll move to,
I have one question.
yes, ma'am.
So you were saying, oh, wow.
I can go back.
Go back for 1 minute.
Yeah, I want to ask something too.
Oh, well, here. So,
Okay.
Mr. Jolly, you were saying that our pre-K through third grade is not going to return to school until January the 25th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so my biggest concern has always been with the smaller kids, the kindergartners. Is it possible? Do we have anything in place to help the parent in that? That's a long time for small children to be out of school and not learning. So I'm trying to see what can we do as a team to ensure that they are getting the basic.
No, that's been our biggest concern, and my biggest concern is that's why we brought them back first,
Right.
because we understood and respected and know the importance of them getting what they need to be successful in their most formidable years.
Right.
The team will sit down, and I know Ms. Thompson has worked hard to ensure that things are continuing while kids are at home. I think we got a great
Okay.
kindergarten team, but it's going to come down to whatever it takes. I will say to the board, I will be bringing a recommendation for extended school year
Okay.
for our youngest students. That
Fantastic.
recommendation will come. It will be a mandatory extended school year,
Mhm.
not one in which people can pick. We'll try to make it as mandatory as possible, but that recommendation will be coming because our kids will be behind. This
Mhm.
online is not ideal for every student. This
Right.
is something I contemplate every day. Those who I've talked to know that my wish was that every kid was in school every single day. I understand the competition. I understand that the people that they're going to compete with who are in school every day.
Mhm.
And I understand that this is a barrier, not one that we just face now, that we're going to face 5 years from now and 10 years from now for what we don't do. But the conditions
Mhm.
that are currently in front of us do not allow us to be in person.
Okay.
And with that, against what I believe is
Mhm.
the best decision for everybody, for
Okay.
us to go remote.
Okay.
So we'll do everything we can to ensure that these kids get what they need
Okay.
this summer
Okay.
or as soon as it's safe for
Okay.
them to be in person.
All right. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
So I do want to make a comment on this, just a comment, not a question. Thank you for the update, Mr. Jolly. I really feel like we can't say enough just how much we appreciate the work that's being done in an effort to keep our students safe. Um, I know how you feel about the students being remote. We've had some discussions about that. I completely understand the need and the benefits for students to be in school, but I do believe that this is the best thing from the terms of safety and health. I know the board would stand with me when I say that when we do come back up and running, whatever you need to bring the students back up to where they need, because I know you've got some concerns about people falling behind. We got you. Whatever you guys need, we're there to support you. So I know this is a difficult decision, but I do think that it's the best decision. And I thank you.
If I can make one more comment, I just want to say we as a people tend to learn from the most adverse situations. Um, it's all about survival of the fittest. And I have to believe that we've got the fittest group of folks here to educate our our teachers, our students, and to continue keeping our educators and our parents up to speed. We tend to take adversity and look at the bad side of it, but I have watched this district continuously take a very adverse situation and turn it around for the good. So I'm looking forward to seeing great things and great learnings from this pandemic after we're out of it, because I think so many of the things that you guys have put into place, we can definitely carry forward in the future as alternative ways of providing strong education for our scholars and even professional development opportunities for our teachers, because we all have to learn to do things differently. So thank you.
And I do want to say that we all still going to be accountable even when people are remote. We learned
Hmm.
some valuable lessons in the spring that will help us make sure that everybody is doing their part, even if they're not here. And the ones that do have to come here, which I will be one that will be here every single day, um, we have to continue to work. The kids are still hungry. We have to still feed them. We have to still do our part in this community as we move forward. So with that, I'll move on to the next in public participation. As we come back into the building, I just want to go through the process of public participation so that people are fully aware of how to participate in public participation. Um, so we did put out something yesterday about public participation, but tomorrow we will um, promote this in all of our social media and our website. but we've created a public participation email address. We are asking that submissions are submitted to this email address by 12 noon the day of the board meeting. At 12 noon, Dr. Rock or Ms. Heck will pull those public comments, and then in the email, we just like in our cards, we're asking that you put your name, your address, your comment, and your contact number, so that we can get back to you after the meeting or after your comment is read. And emails that are received by the deadline will be read at the board meeting. So that is the formal process, remote or in person. As long as we do these type of in-person meetings where there are no spectators, but we want to make sure that people understand thoroughly how to participate publicly with the board. Are there any questions about the process or any suggestions to make it a little tighter or better?
I just want to say thank you. This has been a question that's been asked in many of our meetings, and I think looking at our current board policy and adapting it to our current virtual situation, I think this is the best of the best. So thank you. I think, Ray, I heard you say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment, Madam Chair. Superintendent Jolly, as Ms. Gator said, this board is all behind you. I mean, in these COVID times, we have to be actually working together with the parents and helping them educate the children while we're going through this pandemic. So anything you need, Superintendent, or the parents, I know you'll provide for them.
All right, that concludes my report. Any other questions or concerns? Please, at this time, I'm open to any.
Board, are there any additional questions? Okay, then we're going to move on. Thank you so much, Mr. Jolly.
Yes.
I hope you can get you some rest, because I know it's been a lot of sleepless nights as we've been moving forward with this pandemic this year. Next on our agenda is Dr. Rock's treasurer update. Dr. Rock, if you can take the floor.
Yes. Tonight is on the board agenda is the 5-year forecast for November. The 5-year forecast is due every November and May of every school year. We could dive right in. The best news for the district is that the forecast is funded for the next 5 years with a healthy carryover balance. Next slide. And I'm happy to report that the district's been spending within current resources for 11 years now. And we're projected to spend within current resources for the next 2 years. Per board policy, we have a deficit spending policy that if there's a deficit in year 3, which there is in this 5-year forecast by a small amount of $308,000, that's a small amount for our five-year forecast. When it's in year 3, it requires the superintendent and treasurer to acknowledge the deficit and address it going forward, of which Mr. Jolly and myself have. Next slide. So Mr. Jolly and I, we've looked at this. Number one, we're anticipating various operational savings when the new middle school and high school opens in July of 2022. And those savings will be applied in a future forecast when they're measurable and projected, just similar to that we did for the new pre-K building. But also more importantly, and this is immediate, there's going to be, the district is anticipating a $555,000 refund from the Bureau of Workers' Comp that is not projected in this forecast right now because we're waiting for the final numbers and the final information. So that will be added to our revenue in this year. And that's more than enough to take care of that deficit in 3 years. So we feel very comfortable about that. The state funding during the coronavirus pandemic, we are holding our own. The state called for an immediate reduction in state funds in May last school year by about $400,000. The May forecast included that. And the subsequent reduction was better than what we thought it was going to be for this new year. And it's another 400,000, which is a lot better than what we were projecting. In May, it was very uncertain what the further cuts in state funding were going to be. So this is a positive for the school district. Next slide, please. So going forward, the projections for fiscal year 2022 thereafter include a return to the fiscal 2019 funding level until further data is provided by the state, which is conservative. Now, the current event and the current news that's out there is House Bill 305, which is the Cupp-Patterson Fair Funding for Public Education in Ohio. That's currently in legislation right now. This is a new funding formula that funds students that are actually enrolled in our school district. It's funded per student that attends the district. It's in current House and Senate testimony. It will provide an extra $1.6 billion more dollars in the entire state. And it's favorable. This will be favorable for the district because this will eliminate those transfers and deductions. And for us, that's a $4 million price tag. Right now, the state funds us, but then we send $4 million back to the state. That would be eliminated with this new funding formula. It's gaining a lot of traction, and this was a funding formula that was proposed back in May. Well, not back in May, but back in the earlier part of the biennium budget. And the governor just said that there wasn't enough time for this to be vetted through properly. And I think they squawked at the price of the cost of it in their first biennium budget. But what he did say was keep it going, keep it moving. So it's been moving still, and this is good news for us. And this would be a really good improvement for the school district. Next slide, please. Purchase services continue to be 29% of the total expenditures for the school district. So you can see all the details of that. We had a great finance committee meeting, and we dug really deep into state funding and purchase services and other revenue. So this is the executive summary on it. But you can see that for the cost of substitutes, we're projecting that to be lower because right now we're not using substitutes, but that will come back up, you know, when we get to more in-person learning. And then look at the third line item down, the community schools, and the line underneath it. Open enrollment, and the next line, tuition excess cost and CCN scholarships. Those are those three big line items. All three of those are deductions that come out of our state funding. Next slide, please. The next major item that we looked at was other revenue. This is 12% of our total revenue.
Excuse me one moment, Dr. Rock. We've got a lot of feedback. Our mics are real sensitive. So I will ask if everyone just kind of speaks a little softer and maybe turn our volume down just a little bit on our laptops.
Is that me?
We could possibly mute if people can
Yeah,
mute when they're not talking. Yeah.
Let's try that because it's a lot of feedback and noise.
Is that my microphone though?
You good, Rock?
Okay.
Yeah, just go.
That's better. I don't hear the echo anymore. I felt like I was presenting in Yankee Stadium. Okay. So the tax abatement revenue, I wanted to show the details on this, and you can see that the Eaton pilot payment is a very big portion for the school district, and that's consistent. But also go down 4 line items where it says Amazon revenue sharing. We're at $1 million that was last year, and that was actual, and then we have it at 659. And someone might say, well, why is it going down? Right. Well, that could be for 2 reasons. Number one, this was the first full year that we collected for Amazon at $1 million. If we had a line item for fiscal year 2019, the number was around 280,000. And that was only a couple months when Amazon came online. Also, in the first year of Amazon, that includes, this is income tax based. So that includes the construction costs. So all of the employees that came in to construct and build Amazon, that's included in there.
Oh, okay.
And then the third reason is that we just don't have history to build this on. So it would be nice if I could put $1 million in there and say, yeah, we're going to collect $1 million, but we only have 1 year to report on. Number two, we know that there's construction income in there. And number three, what I did was I took the lowest annual amount that we got from them and annualized that. So right now at this standpoint, this is the best, most conservative way for us to collect that. On our revenue, on our 5-year forecast, it's better to be conservative and project less and collect more. And then on expenditures, you always want to project worst case scenario and then spend less. So this goes along with our concept for the 5-year forecast. So I wanted to give you a chance to take a look at that. And you can see that Warrensville Heights, the CRAs, these are abatements that they're just purely expiring. Now, when those expire down to zero, we'll see an uptick on our real estate tax revenue, because now it's not abated anymore. Now they're going to pay their real estate taxes. Next slide. So the takeaways on the 5-year forecast is very favorable. It's great news for the district that all 5 years are funded. The emergency levy is renewed, and that's included in this projection. And that's one of the reasons why they changed the reporting period to November. So districts didn't have that uncertainty. In the past, it used to be in October and May. And you'd have to project, well, is our levy going to pass? Is it not going to pass? Well, now what they did was they made it so it's the 5-year forecast is due after the election. And thank you very much to the school district for renewing the levy at a very favorable rate. And it's been renewed every 5 years since 1990. So as stewards to the district and the school community, Mr. Jolly and I are happy to report that the district is still spending within current resources on our 11th year completed, with this year to be projected to be within current resources, next year to be projected, and also after the Bureau of Workers' Comp payment comes in, that 3rd year will be projected. And this is where we control our own destiny. If we spend within current resources, that is going to eliminate the need for any new taxes. And then we're complying with the board. I'm sorry. Can we go back? I didn't finish yet. I talked too much with my hands. Okay. So this is complying with the board deficit policy. And then future receipt of the Bureau of Workers' Comp dividend / refund. We talked about that. And the next emergency levy is up for renewal in 5 years, which would be November 2025. And no further levies projected. Okay, next slide, please. So that concludes the 5-year forecast. I wanted to make note that one of our board member, Vice President Ray Freeman, has a chapter written in a book, and it's a book as told by Joshua Emmanuel Gilliam. The chapter in the book is from and Mr. Freeman is also on the steering committee with the Council of Urban Boards of Education. And it's a chronicle of school board members' perspectives on race and racism in 2020 in reaction to current events. Next slide. Mr. Freeman's chapter is Our Educational Model is Broken, and it's on page 51 of the book. Some quotes from Mr. Freeman: our educational model wasn't geared to Black and brown children. Another quote: for 150 years, our history books didn't speak at all of the important accomplishments by Blacks and African Americans. And the chapter describes Mr. Freeman's growth from childhood to a young man with the important influences and mentors that he had along his journey. And it concludes with Mr. Freeman's statement that the fight for racism in education begins in our public schools. It's a great story. I really enjoyed reading it, and I'm honored that I'm working with that leadership team with Mr. Freeman. It's a really great book. I think this might be the last slide. Yep, that's it. So that concludes my section.
I forgot I was on mute. Sorry about that. I just said thank you so much for your update, Dr. Rock. And since there are no board questions, we'll move to item 1.8, Mr. Jolly, the Tiger Way Awards.
Yes. Let me get the award. Our first quarter Tiger Way Award winner is Miss Stephanie Maris, teacher at Westwood Elementary School. Her nominator was Miss Sherry Buford, teacher at Westwood Elementary School. And her nomination stated, I would like to nominate Miss Stephanie Maris for the Tiger Away Award this quarter. I have worked with Ms. Maris the last 3 years, and she has always exhibited professionalism, kindness, and teamwork. In addition to all the great qualities, she has such a big heart and passion for children. She gives 200% daily to our Westwood Scholars and our third grade team, even in the midst of the pandemic. Mrs. Maris has been such a team leader, and she deserves to be honored for her hard work and dedication. This year, she is serving as our reading intervention teacher, and my scholars had her for encore in the beginning of the school year. They raved about how much fun they had with her during those weekly 45-minute classes. She had them so excited to read, and that's what it's all about, sparking a fire for learning for our scholars. She is truly an example of one team, one vision, one goal. Congratulations, Miss Mares. She is on the
Congratulations.
call.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jolly. Thank you, board members. Thank you for recognizing me tonight. Just wanted to say, Sherry, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you for taking the time to nominate me. Thank you for being a wonderful team member. I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. And I get my motivation and my inspiration from the children that I work with and from the wonderful team of teachers that I am privileged to work with every day. I will continue to work that hard, especially during this remote time. And I look forward to the time where my team and I could be back together, and I could be joined again at the new building with my former John Dewey team, because I used to be at John Dewey, and my former Eastwood team members, that we could be together again and continue to do the work that we do and just give it all for our students. So thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to my whole staff and administrators. It's an honor being part of the team.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, our second Tiger Away Award winner is a graduate of Warrensville Heights High School, Mr. Jonathan Chandler. His nominator was Mr. Tad Heedy, the supervisor of safety and security. In his nomination, he states that Jonathan Chandler exemplifies performing his job dedicated to the Tiger Way. During the 5 years I've been employed by the Warrensville Heights City School District, I have come to rely on Mr. Chandler to perform difficult, last-minute requests to ensure the safety and well-being of our students and staff. Mr. Chandler is never afraid to take on a difficult task and has demonstrated the power of team when he elicits feedback and input from both me and my staff. One example occurred during the purchase of handheld portable radios that are so vital in the day-to-day operation of our district. He took the time to speak with our officers to find out what their concerns were regarding communication in their respective buildings and incorporated their ideas into the dynamics of the radio. He then met with officials from Warrensville Heights Police Department to obtain clearance to incorporate our radios into their communication system, thus providing direct contact with them should an active shooter enter our buildings. I have contacted Mr. Chandler after hours to respond to emergency situations in the district. He never complains about his personal life being interrupted and is always willing to stand up and own it. Mr. Chandler is well respected by many vendors that provide services to our district. They often comment on his vast knowledge in the areas of surveillance video equipment and recording devices. Additionally, he has taken on the burden of coordinating all forms of electronic devices that assure accurate accounting and documentation of incidents. In closing, there is not enough room on this page or another 10 pages to list all Mr. Chandler has done and continues to do for the Warrensville Heights City School District. He is a valued employee who has a passion for growth as well as a temperament that lends itself to the best to get the best out of others. Therefore, I highly recommend Jonathan Chandler for the Tiger Way Award. I can think of no one more deserving of our district's recognition for a job well done. Congratulations, Jonathan. Job well done.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you,
Congratulations,
Mr.
Jonathan.
Jolly. Thank you, board members. It's a pleasure being an employee here and also being an alumni. I'd just like to thank you, and I'm glad to see that we're going in the right direction. We have a good leader leading our team, and I'm going to keep doing everything I can to make sure that our scholars get the best education and our teachers get the best technology in hands. So I would like to thank you, and as always, one team, one vision, one goal. Thank you.
All
I'd
right,
like
thank
to
you.
share too that Jonathan, it's a million meetings to build these buildings, and Jonathan is on every meeting with myself. He is very knowledgeable about it. And when I told him when we built this building that I wanted him to learn every system in the building because I wanted him to be able to do everything in the building. And I could tell you right now, it's not a system in this building, not a thing that was installed in this building that Jonathan doesn't know about. He is one of the most outstanding employees that I've ever encountered. His passion for learning, his commitment to our district, and he wants when we talk about caring about the district and caring about the scholars, I think his commitment is unparalleled. So I just want to say that because and publicly acknowledge him because his efforts are ones that I have not seen from someone who is as young as he is and is just hungry to be knowledgeable. And if you walk around in school with him, he will tell you every nook and cranny and why everything is here, know how to operate every system. Because he makes the time and makes the investment to learn. And Jonathan, I just want to personally thank you for everything that you do.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Jolly.
Thank you, sir. Great job to both Jonathan and Stephanie. We're very proud to have you guys on our team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you and congratulations, Jonathan. I can't tell you how many times he has helped me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. We are moving into the body of our agenda now. We are on item 2. I need a motion on the floor, please, to approve by consent agenda, treasurer's report and financial recommendations for items 2.1 through 2.7.
Madam Chair, I move. Am I muted?
Nope, we hear
Okay.
you.
Madam Chair, I move the consent treasurer's report and financial recommendations looking for items 2.1 through 2.7.
May I have a second, please?
A second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Can we just double check number 2.5?
The PK5 Cube Smart Storage Unit?
Yes, we have that on there, and it's okay if the board approves it. We may use that, but I think there's some alternatives that Mr. Jolly and I are looking at that might cost us nothing. So,
Right.
so it's okay if the board approves it. So we'll have that in place, but more than likely, we will probably pursue the one where it costs the district $0.
Right.
So
Okay.
this is just a safety net for us, just in case.
And I'll
Understood.
share what it is. We have excess stock from this building, floor tiles, various different things. So we need a temperature controlled place to store it. But we're looking at storing the items at Eastwood at this point. So we're just looking internally and seeing if we can use one of our buildings for a period of time until we can secure a long-term solution to this situation. So at this time, we're probably going to use Eastwood to store the excess stock here. But in case we don't have it or something, we want to make sure that we have this available to us.
Thank you
Yes.
for the explanation.
Thank you. Is it okay to call the roll?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Moomin? Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Miss Mitchell?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next on our agenda is item 3. We need a motion on the floor to approve items 3.1, 3 through 3.3 for superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action certified staff.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item 3 on the agenda, the consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action certified staff. I'm looking for items 3.1 through 3.3.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Board, is there discussion?
She on mute.
I think you're on mute, Ms. Barbara.
We can't hear her.
To the left at the bottom.
She said her screen is gone.
Oh,
Just bear with us for just a little bit, just some slight technical difficulties.
And Miss Mitchell will dance for us.
No, not tonight, guys, not tonight. I don't have on my dancing shoes. You ready, Miss Barbara? You had a question? You had a question? Oh, okay. If you ask your question, is
she
she
back
in?
in.
Okay, go
She
ahead.
should be back in. You see her? Does she got to unmute herself?
Yes.
We
I
can't hear
can
her.
hear you because you're right here. If you could just ask the question and I'll repeat it.
I can't hear her. We need to unmute her. We need to unmute her.
Okay. How
There
many?
we go.
How
can
many
hear-
tutors?
I
How
can
many
hear you.
tutors? You can hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many of the tutors do we have? You
Home
got
instru-
home instruction tutors. How many do we have?
I believe these are only 3 that we
Just
have.
3?
Yes, ma'am.
They go into the home?
Yes, ma'am. Or meet them at the library or some common place.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. All right.
That it?
That was it.
Dr. Rock, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next on our agenda, we need a motion on the floor to approve item 4.1 under consent agenda, for the superintendent's recommendations and presentation for board action classified staff.
Madam Chair, I move on item 4 of tonight's agenda, the consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation, board action certified staff.
I second.
Classified
staff.
I
Yeah.
second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Board, are there any questions?
No, Madam Chair.
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, y'all are funny now. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, sir. Motion passes 5-0. We are at number 5. It's consent agenda for superintendent's recommendations and presentation for personnel and programs. And we need a motion on the floor to approve items 5.1 through 5.3.
Madam Chair, I move on tonight's agenda, the consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation for personnel and programs. Looking for item 5.1 through 5.3.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Board, is there any discussion?
I'd like to discuss 5.3.
The floor is yours.
Yes, this recommendation comes it comes from me and recommending that our STEAM room is dedicated to Mr. Edward Chambers.
Okay.
Those who know Mr. Chambers, who's been a lifelong resident of Warrensville Heights since the 60s. His kids graduated in the mid 70s, and he's been active in the district before his kids graduated and since. He's been instrumental in us passing levies, bringing programs to the district, being supportive of the district. When we went through this process of beginning the process of building these schools, he was very instrumental in being supportive. He sat on committees to help us determine who would be the architects and so forth. And if you talk to any of the historians in the district, they would tell you how active he was with the schools and also in the community. So fitting, I'm asking the board to dedicate. He's an engineer by trade. That is his career. That we dedicate our STEAM room and name it the Edward Chambers Innovation Lab as recognition and thank you to a person who's dedicated his life to this community and to this school district.
Mr. Jolly, if I could add, just so that the community understands why the name was selected and we were able to select this falls under our board policy. Is it 7250?
I think it's 7250.
It's 7250 that allows us to make this recommendation on behalf of the district for someone who has done just an amazing body of work on behalf of the district and the children of this district. So just wanted everyone to understand why that name was selected and how it was selected by the board.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Yes, just one quick question. Mr. Jolly, could you explain heart to heart?
Yeah, so Heart to Heart is it's normally we partner with mental health agencies. It's just a new company that we partner with to provide mental health and behavioral support. They do not charge us anything. They connect with the parents and they charge the parents insurance. So this is a new company who have some outstanding credentials who we believe would be an asset to us. So we want to see how they do this year. I met with them this morning. They have over 400 clients all over the city. So we're going to see and give them an opportunity. It's a young African American firm who has some very solid mental health people on staff.
Oh, okay. So they do counseling?
Counseling.
Okay.
Family counseling, behavioral supports, all of those different things.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions, board? Hearing none, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. All righty, we do not have any unfinished business, so we're going to move right on along to new business under section 7. The first item up for discussion is 7.1. The board about 1.5 years ago had discussed having a series of greeting cards produced so that we could share thank you, get well, just various normal notes to our district partners, to our district team members. And we just wanted to have them on hand so that we could send them from the board. And so we wanted to put it on this agenda for discussion to see if everybody was in agreement and to determine the best way for us to look at building out a series of greeting cards.
Yes.
Yes.
So do we want to, there's a couple of options we could follow right now, because time is of the essence. If we want to try to get some in for this school year, would be to work with a corporate card company that does this type of thing. And we could work with them to figure out the messaging, the look and feel. They can design the cards to work with our logo, our school colors, even down to using all of our branding, our fonts, everything. So are we in a position where we would ask Mr. Jolly to have someone on his team look into this for us, so that we could then bring it back to the board and decide which organization we're going to go with? Or Mr. Jolly, I don't know if one of the agencies that we work with, I know they do this type of work as well, if we wanted to see if they could produce this body of work for us.
Yeah, I will ask Ms. Heck to look into it for us. We do have some companies we work with that definitely can do customized cards.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an issue at all.
Thank you. Thank you. Then this will be something off of our checklist that we kind of got way late because of this pandemic, that we can pick back up and get it taken care of. So if everyone in agreement?
Yes,
I am.
may I make a
All right.
comment?
Yes.
I just want to thank you for bringing this back up. It falls under our strategic plan in terms of culture and climate. And we really do want everyone to know that they're appreciated and valued, whether it's, in sympathy, birthday cards. So yeah, I think this is a great idea, and thank you.
Yeah. And it also fell up under one of our board goals too, that we never finished.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was focused on culture and climate as well.
Yep.
So I'm glad we were able to get it done. I know there were so many things that we had planned for this year, and the pandemic set everything down. And so now we're living with it. We're going to live through it. We're going to be fine. But in the midst of this all, we're going to get busy doing the work that we were originally planning to do.
There
So
you go.
all righty. Next on our agenda is the board recaps of our Capital Conference at OSBA. We are going to abide by a 2 to 3 minute overview of your learning experience. I am going to set my timer on my clock. So when you see me say, excuse me, we're going to cut it, because we do want
2
to
minutes.
still, even though we are in person, we want to still be careful, just so that we're doing all the right things and abiding by all the guidelines. And we don't want anybody to get long-winded, including me. So I'm not going to go in any order. I will start to my left. This is my left. Mimi, would you?
That's an order. Yes,
right.
I will go first.
For that, I'll say Buzz real quick. Okay. Sorry.
All right. So I'm just going to start off by saying I really enjoyed these virtual sessions. I attended several of them every day. And the beauty of it is I was also able to go back, which I know Tracy and I talked about this. I was able to go back and see some of the other pre-recorded sessions. One of the ones that I attended was called Legal Problems School Will Face in 2021. Pebbles and Wagner's put it on, Chris Williams, who's our attorney. It was only 30 minutes long, but it was very informative. And it was a panel type discussion where they just kind of went over some of the things that we could expect coming out of this pandemic. The other one that I attended that I thought was really good was Post-Pandemic, the board's role. This one here broke down the leadership role for the board as it pertains to 6 different leadership areas of quality board governance. They focused on the vision, basically stating we need to make sure we stay on top of our vision. They went over accountability, policy, community engagement, relationships, and advocacy. It was given by Cheryl Ryan with OSBA, and I just thought it was really good. I love professional development that deals specifically with our roles as board members, and that was one that did just that. Another one that I attended, and I was kind of fooled by the name. I really didn't want to go there, but it was Board Behaving Badly. Again, don't let the title fool you, because it was just kind of a refresher course of meeting protocols and things do's and don'ts during meetings. I attended another session that had to do with social workers' roles. It was facilitated by Faith Gordon, who used to be our social worker here. I think she's in Bedford. So overall, I will say it was a phenomenal conference. And again, I really like the opportunity to do it virtually. And one last thing, kudos to Dr. Rock, Mr. Jolly, and Rick Maniloff for the session that they facilitated. You guys did a really, really good job. So thank you for representing the board. That's all I have.
And you
good.
did it in 2 minutes.
Yes,
Thank you.
I get a
Good job.
prize.
You get a.
All
All right. We'll start with you, Earl. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, I'm fine.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Let's see, with me being the newest board member, I found the conference to be very beneficial for me to just learn a lot of the ins and outs and the protocols and the like. The highlight, I guess, and it's probably because I'm kind of biased for the entire session, was one called "Results on the Ballot and at the Bank," and it was done by our own Mr. Jolly and Dr. Rock. I said it was biased, but it also was very informative because it was about the financing that went into the building of these two beautiful buildings that we're going to have, how they used our own money, public money, and also how they used one levy but financed one, like on our own to get these great projects off the ground. And because I wasn't on the board yet as all of this was developing, it was very instrumental to give me a little more understanding of how these wonderful projects came to be. I also was very impressed by one of the panels that Mimi mentioned as well, how the school social workers benefit your district. And they were talking about, the mental health aspects and educating the entire scholar and how important it is during this particular time to deal with the mental health of, well, not only the students, also the staff. So I found that one to be very informational as well. And I'll just stop right there. I attended some more, but I don't want to be very long-winded. So thank you
I understand. I thank you for that.
very much.
All right. Barbara, you want to go next?
Yes. I started off by, first of all, going over all of the different workshops, and I wanted to see what would be the best thing for us as board members. One of them was building a culture of continued growth. All rise, helping students thrive. How to best use your counseling staff. But the one I liked the best was linking student to career pathways. I thought that was really fantastic because the presenter said we shouldn't wait till the kids get into high school to find out what their interests are. We should start in elementary school, and by the time they get to the middle school, we have some idea as to how to build them for careers. Another one that I thought was really good is a strong foundation begin in preschool. And I know as a grandparent and as a parent that if we can teach basic to our young kids, and they were stressing that we must be able to start with our little kids, preschool and kindergarten. And their focus basically was on the preschoolers. And I thought that was really good. And they had a class and they were just showing all the interaction with the little ones. And I just thought that was really good. Mimi touched on this, how school social worker benefit our district. As a social worker, you need someone inside of your school that's going to help with behavior and dysfunctions in families and see what the whole child is about. Some of us has a lot of kids has a lot of drama. but they can't react it because we have no one in place to help them. And with social workers being in the school, we can do that. And I thank Mr. Jolly for the social worker that we now have in the school. Because a couple of years ago we didn't have social workers in the school, but we do now. We have counselors. Our counselors need to be utilized not just in the high school, but we have to be able to utilize them in the elementary school and the middle school. Because again, by the time they reach high school, we should have some idea as to what career pathway that they're going to follow. Thank you.
You just made it. All right. Thank you. Ray, you want to go next?
Yeah, Madam Chair. I think this year's Capital Conference, Ohio School Board Association and Trade Show was better. I think they had a challenge. I want to say kudos to Rick Lewis, the chief executive, with his staff. I think Jeff Chambers did a great job. The opening for me was actually the young man that was the violinist. I don't know if you guys looked at it, but how he was saying each person that's in charge of children had a red pen. And just like a teacher marking a paper, we have that red pen to actually challenge our children and to move them in a direction. He was wanting to be a violinist, and nobody would actually look at him. Then that one educator took an interest in him, and he became a great violinist. So I thought that was good. I did attend the yoga one day, so it was kind of corny, but I went to the yoga class at 8 o'clock in the morning. Didn't get nothing out of that, but they had some great presentations. Like Mimi said, it was better for and geared to our type of student. I'm seeing how OSBA is moving more for the Black and brown child or children of color, and I like to see that. I did attend one. It was systemic oppression, and that was good. I told Mimi about it. It was a good actual session that talked about our children and talk about what we need to do for our children. And when I say our children, it's just different people get educated a different way. But I thought it was great to do that. As I mentioned to Tracy, I would like to see more of our students in the trade show, you know, at the closing. And I'm seeing those bands from the Columbus area. One day I would like to see our band perform and closing out Capitol Conference. That's something I would want. But all in all, for the 4 days, it was a better conference than I've been, and that was my sixth one. Also, I think I gave it out to you guys. Maybe I didn't, but Makai Ali, who was the former chair of CUBE, he had the California Association of Black School Educators, which is CASB. They had their actual conference. It was last Thursday and Friday. And I'm not going to lie, that was the best conference I've ever been to as a school board member ever. And I'll send you guys some of the information. I don't know if I can get some of the sessions, but it was even better than CUBE. And, you know, I represent CUBE pretty hard, but it was great for CASB. And that's about it.
All right. Thank you. Everybody's done a really good job. So now I've got to stay. All right. So first off, I do want to say thank you, Dr. Rock and Mr. Jolly. You guys did an amazing job with Rick presenting results on the ballot and at the bank. A lot of my courses focused on the impact of board governance during and after the pandemic. And every session I went to really confirmed that board members should remain focused on governance because that is our main role versus taking responsibilities for the day-to-day actions. We can do, and then also make sure that we do all that we can, especially in the midst of a pandemic, to remain visible in our community. There were some other courses that stood out to me. Some of the courses that I had written up, other folks have talked about. One was They Are Clever. I'm always about efficiency, cost efficiency, and I probably drive Dr. Rock crazy about getting forms automated, getting them in the clouds so we can stop, signing and maintaining hard paper. Parma City Schools did a presentation with the company called Clever and talked about how they save money and how helpful it was to use cloud-based forms, especially now in this pandemic. When I told Dr. Rock and Mr. Jolly about it, they both politely informed me that, oh yeah, we do use them. So I do believe they're going to investigate doing more with Clever in the future with some of our other forms. I know, Ray, the opening session with Kai was great, but I really got a lot out of the town hall on Monday with Kate Fagan.
Mhm.
She is a author that wrote a book, What Made Maddie Run. It was a
Yep.
story of Maddie Holleran. She was a high school student who, to look at her, it appeared that everything was just wonderful. And on the inside, the poor child was just in turmoil. And when
Right.
she went to college, she had a very unfortunate situation, where she appeared to be wonderfully happy to everybody. And as the story was unfolding, you began to recognize that the young lady took her life. And as I listened to the story, I thought about my own child and the struggles that he went through in college, being a athlete, and just the way he felt about some things that were going on when he really wanted to do nothing but focus on his education and graduate. So that had a really strong impact on me, that is so important for us to leverage our social workers and our school counselors properly to begin exploring and really understanding the mental psyche of our children. Um, that leads me to talk just a little bit about one that I hadn't planned to talk about, but I did attend a class, How Best to Use Your School Counseling Staff. And that course told all about making sure we're using our school counselors in the right way, and not just for class schedules and, making sure they're ready for graduation. There's a multitude of things that we can do to make our students more whole from inside out by leveraging our counselors. And I've gone past my 3 minutes, so that's where I'll stop.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I may, I'd just like a comment. As Superintendent Jolly and our CFO and Treasurer, Dr. Rock, did the presentation, it actually had me thinking of back when we first started and when we went to New York and went to Moody's and Moody's and get a credit rating. And now you look at it as full circle. So you look at this building that we're in today, and it wouldn't even been possible if without Dr. Rock putting this together and we coming up with a COPS deal along with Rick Maniloff and Mike Purcella. As a team, they put that together, and I just want to say kudos to you and Superintendent Jolly. You know how hard we worked to put this building up. So I look at it, and as a board, we should be very proud of what we accomplished. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So with that, I do agree with everybody. The conference experience was an amazing experience. I thought OSBA did a great job on and off throughout the conference. I was chatting with Terry. She asked me to tell some of you guys hello. Rick and I chatted quite a bit, and we talked about how well the conference was put together in spite of our being in a pandemic. And I guess the attendance was relatively good as well.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I also want to thank OSBA because of the fact that we can go back. We have up until December the 31st to go back and review and just listen to some of the presenters. I think I'm going to agree with Ray. They had some excellent presenters this time, and they hit the problem that most school boards are having now, the school system, the pandemic, and it's all over. And if you go back and you listen, even like to the one that's talked about family engagement, that's a good one that you could go back. And then there was another one said your district is only as good as your board. If you go back and listen to that, that would be fantastic.
Thank you so much. All righty. We are coming up on the end of the board meeting. Dr. Rock, do we have any correspondence?
No, we do not.
All right. Mr. Jolly, are there any announcements?
I think the only announcement is that we will be postponing our ribbon cutting for Saturday. We will announce a new date very soon, but we'll postpone the ribbon cutting for Saturday.
It's not going to be Saturday, or it is going to be Saturday?
It won't be Saturday.
Oh,
We're going to postpone it.
Oh, okay, good.
Yep. All righty. Well, if all hearts and minds are in the right place, I need to put a motion on the floor to adjourn tonight's meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I'd like to adjourn tonight's meeting, our regular board meeting, November 18th, 2020.
Thank you. May I have a
I
second?
second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Everyone Have a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and please stay safe.
Oh,
You guys take care
bye,
and be well.
everybody.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
You too.